Hello, it's 11 o'clock. I'm not Roy Michaels, I'm Dan, the unpaid intern. And you are listening to the Mystery Hour on WMEB 91.9 FM, Orono, Maine.
Tonight's broadcast comes with special instruction. Whether you are alone or with friends, we urge you to turn up your radio and turn off your lights. If you're driving, perhaps you could find yourself a nice long stretch of road on the edge of town, preferably with little traffic.
Soon, you will be subject to several strange tales of the macabre, the supernatural,
the unknown. As part of the, 40-something broadcast of the Mystery Hour,
Tales of Terror, Part 2.
You know, it's really terrifying when you're about to start a show and your laptop gets unplugged with all of your show notes. But that's okay, because that is exactly the point of this broadcast. I'm Roy Michaels, and as always, we are broadcasting to you live from the bowels of the University of Maine. And within this concrete tomb of ours, each week, we delve into the realms of the unknown, the mysterious, trying to mine out any nuggets of truth that we can. Tonight is no exception. For tonight, we have assembled a pile. A big, gross, stinky pile of scary stories given to us by our friends and family. It's certainly shaping up to be a terrifying broadcast. But fortunately, I'm not alone here in the basement of the university. I'm joined by pseudoscientist Keith. Hey! Our intern, Dan Man.
Sorry for unplugging your laptop.
Yeah, this will be reflected in your employee review. I'm also joined by our historian-in-chief, Evan Lane. And it wouldn't be a scary show without the one, the only scary Hamilton. And of course, as always, I am joined by the biggest nerd I know, the president and only member of the Paranormal Truth Society, Connor Spencer.
Salutations.
And he has our first story.
This is a no-sleep story by Benk Bartlett. 36,400,000. That is the expected number of intelligent civilizations in our galaxy, according to Drake's famous equation. For the last 78 years, we had been broadcasting everything about us, our radio, our television, our history, our greatest discoveries, to the rest of the galaxy. We've been shouting our existence at the top of our lungs to the rest of the universe, wondering if we were alone. 36 million civilizations, yet in almost a century of listening, we hadn't heard a thing. We were alone. That was until about 5 minutes ago.
What?
The transmission came on every transcendental multiple of hydrogen's frequency that we were listening to. Transcendental harmonics, things like hydrogen's frequency times pi, don't appear in nature, so I knew it had to be artificial.
Of course.
Of course. The signal pulsed on and off very quickly with incredibly uniform amplitudes. My initial reaction was that this was some sort of binary transmission. I measured 1,679 pulses in the 1 minute that the transmission was active. After that, the silence resumed. The numbers didn't make any sense at first. They just seemed to be a random jumble of noise. But the pulses were so perfectly uniform and on a frequency that was always silent, they had to come from an artificial source. I looked over the transmission again, and my heart skipped a beat. 1679. That was the exact length of the Arecibo message sent out 40 years ago. I excitedly started arranging the bits in the original 73 by 23 rectangle. I didn't get any more than halfway through before my hopes were confirmed. This was the exact same message. The numbers were in binary from 1 to 10, the atomic numbers of the elements that make up life, the formulas for our DNA nucleotides. Someone had been listening to us and wanted us to know they were there. Then it came to me. This original message was transmitted only 40 years ago. That means that life must be at most 20 light years away. A civilization within talking distance, this would revolutionize every field I had ever worked in. Astrophysics, astrobiology, the signal is beeping again. This time it is slow, deliberate even. It lasts just under 5 minutes with a new bit coming in once per second. Though the computers are of course recording it, I start writing them down, just in case. 01010100. I knew immediately this wasn't the same message as before. My mind races through the possibilities of what this could be. The transmission ends, having transmitted 248 bits. Surely this is too small for a meaningful message. What great message to another civilization can you possibly send with only 248 bits of information? On a computer, the only file that small would be limited to text. Was it possible? Were they really sending a message to us in our language? Come to think of it, it's not that out of the question. We had been transmitting pretty much every language on Earth for the last 70 years. I began to decipher with the first encoding scheme I could think of, ASCII. 010101, and so on. It spelled out B, E. As I finish piecing together the message, my stomach sinks like an anchor. The words before me answer everything. It read, "Be quiet or they will hear you."
Oh my goodness.
Truly spooky stuff.
We're off to a spooky start.
What's out there, Roy?
Let me tell you. A lot. Several planets and several species of alien. The Phoelcians, the Pleiadians, the Greys, the Nordics, the Palladians, and the Tall Whites.
Right.
3 of those are the same species. Which one do you think is which?
I don't know.
I would be careful if I were you. They are listening. This very moment, these radio waves are broadcasting into outer space.
Mike, Roy, be quiet or they will hear you.
Listen, though, I do think, I've said this on the show before, we should be careful about what we send out into interstellar space. Especially when you consider the Voyager and how pop scientist and handsome man Carl Sagan doomed our entire race by spearheading the Voyager spacecraft.
Yeah.
Now that has our most sacred musics from around the world, a little bit from multiple cultures, not all cultures, okay? Just one record. Let's be real. But it also has the brain waves of a human female on that record as well. We can't let them know how we think.
No, they give them everything they need to destroy us. For sure.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. But if you listen to last week's episode, that's already underway. Eisenhower signed a pact with the Greys in the 50s. That fell through. The Greys have been taking what they need from us for some time now, including our reproductive tissue, our sperm cells, and they're making human gray humanoids to control the government at the highest levels. Does anyone want to bail me out of this train of thought and maybe continue with a different scary story?
Who wants to go?
Listen, my notes are still offline.
Someone's gonna step
I'm
up.
bouncing back. Dan unplugged my laptop. Okay. Let me tell you a quick one as Mary gets into position. So I once had this friend, okay, who had a friend who had a cousin that reported several, he'd go to bed, you know, like all of us do. He was going to bed, and he heard scratches at the bottom of his bed frame, right? And he thought it was just rats. You know, like, listen, we got a real bad rat problem up here. And this went on for a long time. Nobody really believed him. They put out a few rat traps and so forth. Well, the time came for him to move to college, right? Following me? Okay, so he's moving to college, and they take off his mattress, and they heave up that old metal bed frame, and as it's perpendicular to the floor, it is revealed that there are several claw marks on the bottom of the frame. What could it be? I don't know. But here's Scary Hamilton with another spooky story.
Okay, so I'm pretty convinced that I saw a ghost, like, for real. And it's, like, while I'm trying to fall asleep, I kind of always go through this pattern of, like, having a train of thought. Like, I have to be thinking about something, and then eventually I kind of come out of it, and I'm, like, in this train of thought. I'm not really sure how I got there, but that's when I know, like, I'm about to fall asleep.
Yeah, it's like just random sensory images going through your brain.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, why am I even on this train of thought? And you're like, okay, well, I must have, like, started to fall asleep. And, like, while I was trying to fall asleep a couple weeks ago, my eyes were shut, but I was having thoughts that I knew I was still conscious and still not really asleep at all.
You're still, like, in that in-between phase.
Yeah, but it wasn't even like I was about to fall asleep or I was going into a dream or anything like that. I was really aware that I was, like, thinking about my day. I was thinking about, like, getting ready for classes. I was thinking about all of these different things, and then all of a sudden I opened my eyes for a second, and I'm staring at my, like, open door to my bathroom in my bedroom, and I see these, like, long black fingers that are grabbing around the door, and they, like, slowly start to go behind the door, and I'm staring at
Like
it.
Grinch fingers.
Yes, exactly like Grinch fingers. Exactly like Grinch fingers. And they pull themselves, like, behind the door, and I was just kind of paralyzed for a second because for the first time ever, I was absolutely sure that I had just seen something that wasn't really, like, it wasn't a person in my room. But it was there, and I saw it move, and I didn't hear anything, and I just looked at it, and it was like so.
It was silent. It just slipped away from you. Is that what you're saying?
And it wasn't even what I would expect when I would see something like that. But I just kind of was so paralyzed in the moment that I just was like, I'm just gonna go to sleep because whatever happens, like, it's here, and, like, there's nothing I can do about it, and I'm just gonna go to sleep now.
Yeah, what was your gut reaction to seeing that?
That I was just like, oh my god, it's there. Like, because I always have these thoughts that I'm gonna see something. I just have this superstition that, like, noises and if things out of the corner of your eye, you're just like, what was that? Like, for a split second. But I was staring at it, and I knew that it was really, really there. And I was surprised because I always have these, like, ideas of how I would react in that situation. Like, my god, I would run. I was totally alone, by the way. There was nobody had moved back yet. I had no roommates, and so there was no one to run to, but I'm sure if there was someone there, I would have run out of my room and been like, there's something that I just saw, and I need to tell you about it right now.
This is actually a similar thing happened to me before. I was sleeping, and I woke up, and in my doorway, I saw the silhouette of a man. So much so that I stood upright because I was, alarmed. And I usually only wake up when someone enters my room. Sound doesn't really do it for me. It's always that, like, physical presence. Mm-hmm. And I woke up, and the person was standing there. I said hello, and then as my eyes adjusted to the darkness, nobody was there. I know this wasn't a dream because my uncle, who I was living with at the time, said that he heard me say hello, who's there, in the middle of the night.
Oh my god.
Now, was this at your, new apartment?
Yes.
How haunted is the avenue?
I don't know. And that's the thing. I'm just like, there's nothing to connect it to. And I don't know. I'm just, I don't know. Ever since that story of the haunted painting and like doing research of the painting in the Hudson Museum.
Yes, and this was a piece that we did like months ago at this point. I think this is our 1-year anniversary of the Mystery Hour. I'm not sure. But that was like very early in the game.
Yeah.
Do you think that was a trigger event that like opened you more up?
Because the hand on the window. Okay, there's like so many things that are like connected to this. But I put Sweetgrass in my corner.
You left
of my
one
room.
of your possessions in a haunted area.
Yes.
Yes.
But I now have Sweetgrass in the corner of my apartment, like my apartment bedroom. So like that's like a thing that like if spirits are there, like they're attracted to like the nice smell, and like it attracts good spirits so that the bad spirits stay away. But I feel like it's not working, and like something's going on because so many weird things are happening.
You left something with your scent on it in front of the spirit portal, and now whatever crawls out can sort of pick up the trail and follow you home. Do you want to do a brief synopsis of that glass case we investigated?
Okay, so there is a painting in the Hudson Museum, and it's of Molly Molasses, and she was known to possess Medowin, which is kind of this like
it's a sort of
magic. Yeah. I don't want to say like people would call her a witch, but in the Penobscot like community, it wouldn't be called witchcraft, more like magic. It's quoted that if she wanted you to die, like you would pretty much like die, and like so her painting is in the Hudson Museum, and it's been linked to strange things that happen. So she's in a glass case.
Isn't her case alarmed?
So each case is alarmed separately. So if anything happens, like you know exactly which case to go to, and hers always gets set off, and it's like it's like within the case though. So like if you have to like turn off the alarms to do any work within the case, and so there's no reason.
So it's a motion detector.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the only reason, like, sometimes, like, if it's really hot in the summer, like humidity will set it off. But from what I heard from, like, working there...
Wait, before we go forward, can I just ask you a quick question?
Yes.
Do you think ghosts, since they are sort of just a cluster of energy... Do you think they get heavier when it's humid outside?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. It's crazy.
I like to think that. I'm sorry to cut you off, though. So the motion sensor goes off in the case,
at
right?
night, and like they have to go in, and they can't explain it. But then,
this is the kicker. This is the scary part.
There was a handprint on the inside of the glass, and like when you go in there to work on things, you're not touching the glass. From the inside, and there was moisture that was coming down. They don't know what it was, but there was these drippings from the ceiling down, and they can't explain it because that whole ceiling has no, like, there's no explanation from what could come down from the ceiling into the case.
Yeah,
it's so
perfectly
protected.
sealed. Yeah. Ooh, I'd say I made it 16 minutes into this broadcast without getting goosebumps, and now I'm very cold. Dan, could you please feel my flesh? Thank you, Dan. Do you think... Connor?
I just want to say, Mary, I'm worried about you, because it sounds like you're about 2 seconds from being possessed, and at this point, Sweetgrass is not going to do it.
Yeah, if she starts, like, freaking out, can one of you guys, like, please put her down?
Yeah, immediately. Yeah. By the way, Sweetgrass the price has skyrocketed since Trump was sworn in. Just so people know. So if you're gonna get some Sweetgrass, you're gonna have to pay for it.
Yeah, we are going into a new dark age. Oh.
Opinions expressed in this show are those of the DJ and do not reflect the opinions of WMEB, its staff, or the University of Maine. Please note that the views and opinions expressed in this show are those of the DJ.
We're gonna hit you with it twice, so you really know. Going into a new dark age. These magic relics of ours are crystals, if you will, are Sweetgrass stuff that we prescribe meaning are becoming more powerful to us as we kind of like clutch whatever we have. Plus, there's a war on science. I'm an environmental science student. According to our government, it's now a pseudoscience, which is great for my show because now I can claim without lying that I am a professional pseudoscience in training, at least. Yeah.
I mean, what should we do, though, for Mary?
I think, maybe we could do a Ouija board session at your place. Definitely. I am curious about the land that the avenue was built on, because that was built on the old road between Orono and Old Town. And, 2 years ago, that was just woods. I was out there playing. I got bit by a tick. I had Lyme disease. I know it was there. It ruined my life for a little bit. Why is it funny?
I mean, you're all right now.
Listen, you want to hear something terrifying?
It's just you were so scared of being bitten by a tick, so of course it would be you, right?
Yeah. I did the tick checks. I don't know where it bit me. I never found it.
No, none of us checked for ticks.
Might have been internally.
Way up there.
I was walking around some high grass, let me tell you.
Did they tell you that can happen?
What?
Did they tell you that it can happen internally?
They did not tell me it could happen internally, but they said, you swallow like 2 to 7 ticks a year.
Yeah, while you're sleeping, yeah.
This is just the main thing.
I asked my doctor about it, and he said it might be there, but it's way up there, and it's not coming out.
Yeah. You just gotta get it.
So I don't know.
And I didn't even have the bullseye rash, so it could have been internal,
What is the bullseye rash? Is that so more ticks can target you?
I believe so. Actually, it's funny. Moxie got its start as a tick antidote.
Wait, really?
Nah. Makes sense.
I thought that was an interesting fact.
No, not an interesting fact. But here's an interesting fact. It's now 11:20, which means it is time for our first break. I'm Roy Michaels, and you are listening to the Mystery Hour on WMEB 91.9 FM, Orono, Maine.
Come on, everybody, and listen to
Jack.
There's a great new dance, and it goes like this.
When listening to punk music, one is subject to multiple notes being played at once in an almost staccato manner. These are called short chords. When one is listening to my radio show, I hope they imagine me wearing corduroy pants cut off just above the knees. These are called chord shorts. Chord shorts with me, DJ Jack Fonchez. I play punk, punktronica, electronica, electro, rock, indie rock, rocktronica, country, rock outlaw, country cowpunk, and back to punk again. Check me out on the WMEB machine. That's WMEB 91.9 FM, Orono, Maine. Only on Fridays from 5 to 7 p.m. It's college radio. Let's get weird.
Hello and welcome back to the Mystery Hour. I'm Roy Michaels. It's 11:22 and you are listening to WMEB 91.9 FM, Orono, Maine, college radio in a class by itself. Tonight on our broadcast, Tales of Terror 2, we are sharing several stories that will give you the creeps, that will make you want to go to sleep with your light on. And helping us with that is Robbie Keane, all the way from New Zealand. Are you there, Rob?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Robbie Keane.
Right.
You are on air. Welcome back to the show. I told everyone you are dead. That was just for ratings, of course, but you are alive and well.
I'm having a great time listening to you guys.
Yeah, how's your secret mission going down there?
I don't think
it's going well. I'm actually coming to you from the future. It's 5:20. It's 5:23 p.m. at the moment.
How'd you do that, man?
I don't know. I think the Earth is round.
I think you're right.
So, what's this story, Rob? What do you have to
Alright.
show for this entire trip? You know, we used the entire budget of the Mystery Hour to send you down there.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sending, me away on this trip. I managed to convince you. I mean, the research is going well.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, I hope so, because we had to shut down Studio B just to fund your plane ticket.
Yeah, no Studio B. We had to get rid of that. It's not a thing. At least for us.
Oh, that's too bad. We had some good times. Well, listen, I've been in New Zealand for about a couple months here, and so far in my travels, I've heard a few scary stories. I've seen a few orbs.
Few orbs?
In fact,
Don't say
the
that like
orbs
it's
keep
normal.
popping up. Well, it's becoming normal.
I see.
Yeah, I don't see them till after. I keep getting photographs, but in my travels, I heard a scary story that I haven't heard before.
Okay.
And as far as I know, it's completely factual. But I'm still digging.
Of course.
Anyways, well, let's just go right into it.
Let's blast into it.
Yes, I'm afraid, Mommy.
I'm afraid, Daddy.
No.
Oh, I thought we were just doing some spitballing like old times.
No, that's the beginning of my story.
I'm afraid, Mom. I thought this was like a second-hand story you heard from someone. I'm not gonna sit around the campfire, in the summer and be like, oh, I got a good ghost story for you. I'm afraid, Mommy.
All right, I'm afraid, Mommy, Sam said, as his mother entered his bedroom,
Can I just
pulling on her.
Can I interrupt you? Now, is this Lord of the Rings? Because I know you're in New Zealand, working on the set, the Shire. You mentioned Sam.
Yeah, this is about Sam. Yeah, Sam Wise.
Okay, I'll let you. I'm sorry.
Does Sam even have a mom? I don't know.
Of course he had a mom.
Not that we know of.
Do hobbits get pregnant?
He could have been immaculately sexed or whatever.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy killer.
All right, let's get with the story. What's going on with the story?
The answer is
Okay,
eggs.
go.
I just looked it up.
Okay, here's the story. Really prepare to be afraid. I'm afraid, Mommy, Sam said, as his mother entered his bedroom, pulling on her coat. His mom came over and sat down on the edge of his bed and ran her fingers through his curly hair. Now, Sam, you're a big boy now. You're 10 years old. I'm sorry, but we have to go to see Grandma. She's not feeling well right now, and you've just got over the chicken pox, so we can't take you with us. But I've never stayed all by myself before, Sam said. Sure you have, many times. Uh-oh. Not at night. Sam, honey, it's no different. Honest, you'll be just fine. And beside, you got Maggie here. Oh, my goodness, where is Maggie? She said, looking around dramatically, in a game they always played at bedtime. Where is she always? Sam replied, laughing. His mom gestured, pointing down, and mouthed, under the bed. Sam laughed, shaking his head in agreement. His mom placed her hand under the bed. Lick, lick. Aw, Maggie, you got me all wet, you silly dog, she said, wiping her hand on her pants, and Sam just laughed. See, you're laughing already, she said. Just remember, if you get scared, just hang your hand over the side of the bed, and when Maggie licks you, you will know that everything is okay, okay? All right, Mommy, I will, Sam said, and she kissed him on his forehead. Your dad and I will be back in about 3 hours or less. So just stay in your bed, and if you need us, the phone number is on the wall in the kitchen. Okay, Sam said with a big yawn. His mom smiled and left the room. Sam sat there in silence, listening. In just a few minutes, Sam could hear the car start and the garage door open, and then close, and he knew he was all alone. He stared at the ceiling for a while, listening to every creak and moan of the house. Then he began to get himself nervous. So, Sam stuck his hand over the side of the bed. Lick, lick. Thanks, Maggie, Sam said. I needed that. Sam then turned over, pulled the covers up, and worked to try to go to sleep. I can do this, he thought. Just as Sam was about to fall asleep, there was a noise that came from his bathroom. Sam's eyes grew big, and he pulled the covers up tighter. He looked over at the bathroom door. It was sitting slightly open, and it seemed just like a black hole carved within his bedroom wall. What was that? He thought as he slowly pulled his arm from and under the covers and let it dangle over the side of the bed. Lick, lick. Okay, he thought. Maggie isn't worried, so why should I be? Thanks, Maggie, he said. Then everything was quiet again. Maybe he didn't even hear anything at all. Maybe he was just falling asleep, and thought he heard something. He lay there for a while in the silence, and slowly started to drift again. Then, BAM! A nose came again from the bathroom. This time he was sure he had heard it. He stuck his hand over the side of the bed. Lick, lick. He calmed down, feeling the comforting touch of his dog's tongue on his skin. He could still hear something, though. Something seemed to be moving in his bathroom. He slowly pulled the covers down and edged himself over to the side of the bed, never taking his eyes off the black crack in the wall that was the doorway to the bathroom. Cautiously, he lowered himself to the floor. Slowly, step by nervous step, he made his way closer to the doorway. Sam stopped once he reached the door. He could still hear something moving inside the bathroom. He slowly extended his arm and pushed the door open wider. Then, cautiously, he stepped inside, reaching for the light switch. Click. The light came on. And there, laying in the floor in front of him in a puddle of her own blood, was Maggie. Her back leg was twitching in a death rattle, kicking the edge of the sink cabinet. He gasped and stepped back, and in turning, he saw scrawled across the mirror in blood were the words, "Humans like to lick too."
Ah! No! That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
I got goosebumps.
I get scared every time we hear it on the show. I'm sorry.
That's great.
It's a good story. It's worth hearing.
It is a good story.
Yeah.
I like your story, and also Grinch fingers.
What was?
I just like that.
That was a very menacing chuckle. Rob, I miss you.
I miss you guys. I wish I was there. It's amazing what we can do with technology.
It is amazing.
It's amazing that aliens exist. Yeah.
The truth is going to come out soon. I don't know if that's been mainstream news in New Zealand yet.
No, everything's a bit behind, about 5 years behind here.
Oh, okay.
Technology-wise. But there are a lot of meat pies.
Nice.
What do you listen to music on? Like an iPad Mini? An iPod Mini? What kind of stuff you got there?
Phonograph.
Phonograph. That's 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
What a wild
my local town office. Yeah.
Well, Rob, you should call in more often. That was great. That was a scary story.
I will.
You sound out of breath there.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
right.
I am. Well, no, I'm on the move, but
Oh.
You're on the move.
Well, hey Rob, we gotta cut you loose, but we love you and we miss you, and thank you so much for your story, and thanks for scaring us.
Love you, Rob.
you guys are the greatest. I'll be listening, and I'll join you back in April. Join you again.
Yeah, see you then. See you then.
See ya.
Farewell, friends.
Farewell.
Farewell.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Until we meet again. That was Rob. That was he used to be on the show. He's no longer with us. He's still alive. I think necromancy's to blame.
Yeah, I miss him.
Connor, could you do some spitballing while I line up our next caller?
Do some spitballing, huh? So Keith, what's going on with the sweetgrass market right now? Can you hop on over here?
Honestly, it's hard to say. Like, I was looking at it last week, and there's some usual dips, right? Down 5, up 5, same old, same old.
Yeah.
And then Mary comes along and tells this story. I got a dude in Boston. He's a little bit behind, right? He tells me that the market's already going up just from that story we just heard right now.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness,
Mike's
viewers.
calling us back.
He also said it is 11:33, and you are listening to the Mystery Hour on WMEB 91.9 FM, Warren, Maine. I'm Roy Michaels.
So are we going back to spitballing? Is that
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
actually listen to what you said there.
Oh,
I
we're
thought we were
going
going
to
ad break. Yeah. Okay. I'm just used to like hearing your spiel and then tuning out. So anyway, there's really not much more for me to say here. All I gotta say is that sweetgrass is going up. So like, if you want to protect yourself from demons and you want to protect yourself from Mary's ghost and you want to visit the Grove or visit the Ave or wherever it is, ghosts are everywhere. Bring sweetgrass. Buy sweetgrass. Invest now.
Definitely.
Get rich.
From what I've heard, bone boxes are out. Sell,
Absolutely.
sell.
They're worthless.
Yeah, buy black.
It's like 10 to
Twizzlers.
1. It's absurd. The market is just trash. Sell your
It's-
bone boxes, buy sweetgrass, ride the hype, scam people. It doesn't matter. Pyramid scheme, whatever. Do what you need, sell it on the lower class, make some profit, and then don't get spooked. All you got to do, don't get spooked. Buy the sweetgrass. Goodbye.
Wait, Keith, can we do a pump and dump with that too?
Yeah, exactly.
Can we? Okay, sweet. That's gonna be great.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
So we are gonna bet on the fall of the sweetgrass. So anybody out there who wants to bet on the fall when all this goes to crap, just let us know.
Nobody bets against sweetgrass.
I'm betting against sweetgrass.
What are you, Christian Bale from The Big Short?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's who I am.
That's my reference of the night.
I don't think you should bet against sweetgrass because I don't know if many people know this, but if you opened up Fort Knox, full of sweetgrass.
It's full
Is
of
that what backs up the American dollar?
It is indeed, yeah. People
This
think
is
it's
crazy.
a fiat currency, but it is not.
I actually heard that they had to move all the sweetgrass out of there for Fright at the Fort because it was causing such an issue.
Really?
Like, they couldn't get any spooks there. And because the sweetgrass, they had to move it all the way out. So now they've got all these spirits, they've got all these ghoulies, they've got all these just irregular spirits haunting the place, and it's because they moved the sweetgrass.
Every time I went to Fort Knox, I did see ghosts, but I did realize eventually that it was Friday at the Fort, which is a great event. But it's also a great event? The Orono Flow Mini Fest. You think this show is scary, it'd be really, really, truly scary. Missing that Orono Mini Fest tomorrow. That is Saturday, 4 to 11, February 4th. Tickets are $5. Art, music. Super cool. I won't be there, but you can be. Go for me. Enjoy the show. Yeah, so I think we do have another caller lined up. Let me just give him a call here. Just making sure he's okay.
It's always good.
Yep.
He's fine, yeah?
He's typing. I'm going for it.
He's going to type the story to you?
We're going in on live air.
Hello.
Hello, Joe.
Hello.
You are on the Mystery Hour.
Thank you.
How's it going?
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Go to quiet.
Am I quiet?
No, go to a quiet space.
These guys are in there. I'm in a car right now.
That was funny.
Oh, drive safe, man.
Yeah. Let's go to the station. Yeah, we're on our way to the station.
Oh, I'll see you soon.
Actually, but I can tell you that story now if you wanted to.
Yeah. Hit me with the deets. It's a ghost story.
Okay. All right. So. Yeah, that was. Sorry, I'm having a lot of trouble hearing you.
Do you wanna try calling me back?
What's that?
You wanna try doing a callback?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna go to a quick break, and maybe we'll hear from Joe.
All right.
And maybe we won't.
That was one heck of a story. I think it speaks for itself.
But we will hear the story of Catherine's Hill, a Mystery Hour favorite that hasn't been on.
That's classic.
In quite some time. But yeah, it's 11:40, which means it's time for our second break. Mystery Hour Tales of Terror Part 2. Be right back. I'm Roy Michaels, and you are listening to the Mystery Hour on WMEB 9.9 FM. Or on Maine.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman to save money.
We need a new stuntman!
You just need feedthepig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Hello and welcome back to the Mystery Hour. It is 11:40. I'm Roy Michaels, talking to you live at WMB 91.9 FM, Orono, Maine, from the basement of the University of Maine. Now, let me tell you, down in this basement, things are getting a little bit strange, a little bit weird. And Keith's gonna go in that direction. He's gonna be giving us the story. Catherine's Hill, it's a famous Maine ghost story. We haven't mentioned it on the show for some time, but it's definitely like the classic Down East ghoul tale. Everybody who has spent some time in the Pine Tree State should know this one. Keith, are you ready to go?
Yeah, I think technically. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
All right, excellent. So we've already spoken of this once, and I'm sure that many of us are very familiar. I'm sure that as Mainers, many of you are already very familiar with the legend of Catherine's Hill.
I think the last time we talked about this was exactly a year ago.
It's been a year ago today, actually. I don't know that for sure. It could be, give or take a week, whatever. But I believe it's a good place to begin our discussion, right? Like, it's not technically about ghosts, but it's about spooky stuff. And that's good enough for me. So for those of you unfamiliar, it's a good place to start celebrating this place we call our strange home. Catherine is the name of a woman who is said to haunt Catherine's Hill on the Blackwoods Road between Franklin and Cherryfield. Like most old folk tales, the circumstances surrounding the demise of Catherine have been more ambiguous with time. Some say that the events preceding the legend took place in the mid-1800s, while others suggest that they occurred as recently as the 1970s. However, in every version of the legend, the same three factors remain. Catherine was accompanied by her lover. Perhaps they were married, or maybe they were on their way home from their high school prom. There's a collision, and it's always messy, because it sent Catherine's head rolling down the road. Now, on late evenings, when the fog has enveloped the route, Catherine can be seen in her evening gown searching for her lost lovey along the side of the road. Is that a lovey? Is that like lover, but the person loved?
My lovey.
Yeah, I like it.
It was a typo.
I like it. It's probably a word.
It should be lover.
Let's go with that.
I'll look it up.
I lost my lovey.
Yeah, I like it. Anyway, further up the road, he lost control of his vehicle, a circumstance that ultimately cost him his life. When responders to the crash were speaking with a salesman, he mentioned seeing a wandering woman twice. first on the side of the road and then in the rearview mirror sitting right behind him. It is now understood that when you see Catherine, you must stop and offer her help. If you do not, you will be subjected to a curse and die soon after.
Yeah.
So, Mike, I gotta ask.
It's heavy stuff.
Where do you think we go from here? What would you do if you saw Catherine?
I would most definitely stop because I'm familiar with the legend, and I knew that she was driving along one day, got in the car accident, lost her head. Might want to make me lose my head.
That's what she does. That's what
she's always alone, and I think maybe she's looking for more people to chill with her on the side of the road. No, just hitchhike.
Okay. Do you think she wants to escape?
Hitchhike, but you never get a car.
Like, do you think she is trying to leave this route? Or do you think she's stuck on Route 182?
I think she is stuck on Route 182. To me, it seems like a residual haunting.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
As if she's like living out her actions previous to death. Although if that would be true, the logic in what I just said is not sound. Because, if she was living out her actions before death, she would be, cruising down the road.
Exactly.
Kind of like in an invisible car.
She should have a ghost car.
Yeah.
Okay, so if she doesn't have a ghost car, what if she was just completing a pilgrimage to the West? Like, let's say she wants to go to California and become a big ghost star.
Sure.
Okay, what is she going to do there? How long do you think it would take her to complete her hitchhiking mission? Do you think that as we get further west, they understand who she is? Or do you think that her popularity will just fizzle out as soon as we get down to Boston?
Well, I think a lot of people won't know the legend, so she'll have to kill a lot of people. It's going to be a highway paved with bodies, a lot of death, a lot of destruction.
And so as the body count increases, her notoriety will as well, correct? So, like, maybe if she, offs enough people, by the time she gets to New York, they might know who she is.
Yeah, so I'm sort of imagine like a blockbuster, Catherine, the dead ghost, goes west.
I love it, actually.
Yeah, I'm glad we got on this train of thought.
Yeah, I heard she wants to do infomercials, but...
Speaking of ghosts, I think Joe Ahern has a ghost story for us. Give that man those headphones.
I'm just gonna crouch.
Now, Joe, you have to say no dirty words during this story. I haven't had time to give you the brief.
Okay. So I think I started before by telling you that this was on Pleasant Street, right? This was on Pleasant Street in Greenville, Maine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So my mom, she lived there when she was raising me. And it was an inn. It's called the Pleasant Street Inn. It's at the top of the hill, and you can look it up online. There's a tower where there's these 2 first floors, and then there's the rooms for all the guests, and then there's this sort of like lookout type tower type situation.
Sort of like a bird's nest?
Yeah, like a bird's nest, like a widow's walk, except I think in a widow's walk they are outside, but this was an inside situation.
Oh, okay. So it was like an indoor widow's walk?
Indoor widow's walk, yeah.
I get what you're saying now.
So, anyways, I lived there for a summer, and my mom was like cleaning the rooms and stuff and living there for free while she had a job at the hospital. So she got to live there for free and clean the rooms. But anyways,
it's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's pretty good gig.
Yeah, it's a good gig. So I would go there on the weekends, and I would stay in this one room. I think it was room number 7. And there were these long. Yeah, I know.
This is room number 7.
Yeah, and every room had a theme, like sort of a different like decade. Like there was like a 70s style where like the carpets. I don't know if the carpets or the walls were like orange. Something was orange, and then there was like another room with like a 50s style, and it was creepy. I don't need to tell you
absolutely.
that. It was very creepy. But
this is before people had time travel.
This is in the 70s, you mean?
Well, like
when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
You had to
That's
build
before
the
that, too.
decades to
Right.
go there.
And in order to get the experience, you'd have to stay in one of the rooms.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anyways, where the ghost comes in.
Yeah. What's the theme? Or is that the kicker?
No, the kicker is not that there are scary rooms, but so basically, when you were staying there, I would always get the sense there was this really long hallway, and when I had to go to my room, I walked up the stairs. It was these really narrow staircase, really tall, and you'd get to the top, and it was just a really long, narrow hallway all the way to my room, and I'd have to walk past all these different decades-style rooms. And when you were sleeping there, you would hear the toilets flushing and people taking showers. I was 100% sure there was nobody staying at the inn at the time except for me, but I heard people flushing the toilets at night. I heard people taking showers. And my mom heard the same thing, and trust me, she doesn't lie.
I'll take your word for
She's
it.
my mom.
Of course. I mean, I wasn't... You get that vibe from me? I was going to call you.
Yeah, you were staring at me, and...
I would never do that.
Okay.
Sorry.
There's more, but there's even more.
Oh.
So, occasionally guests did come to the inn. Guests did come, and they would stay, and when they would leave in the morning, they would leave the payment. But one guest left without saying anything, without talking to my mom first or anything like that. Usually you have like a checkout process.
Yeah.
And this particular guest said that the night previous they had went up to the tower I was talking about. And in the tower there's like it's like a table, and there was like little games you could play, like a checkerboard and stuff like that. And they said they had met the ghost in the tower. They left a note, and they left a big tip, and they left the payment for the inn. And they said, I had met the ghost in the tower last night, and he told me I had to leave. So I left this morning as soon as possible. Like, here's the money, here's your tip. And that was it.
That's it's really freaky.
It is really freaky. It is really freaky.
That guy's bad for business.
Yeah, well,
the guy still paid.
The people who own the inn were from Pennsylvania, and they were just awful people anyways. So
yeah.
But that's the whole story, I guess.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever drive past that quiet little inn and think the same.
You should go in there if you have the chance. I think it's like not well guarded or anything.
Yeah, so I don't have to book a room. I can just...
No, you can just go in.
I can just go in?
You can just go in.
Room number 7.
That was my room, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that wasn't the haunted room. The haunted room was
I never knew what the haunted room was. I sometimes would clean the rooms for tips.
Oh,
and this is a whole other horror story.
Yeah, no, my mom was in this business. Yeah.
Child labor?
Yeah, child labor. Did you get a lot of bodies? My mom did. I'm just curious.
Bodies?
Yeah, like clean the room.
Just me.
Oh, okay.
Just the one. Just the one child at the time. That was me. But yeah, that's all that happened.
That's pretty good. Thank you for bringing that story to us. It's,
and I
really
apologize
nice.
for the. I was on the road.
No, that was a good segue. Like, we were driving to a conclusion together. We were all in the car. It was very immersive radio, I think.
Hopefully.
What do you think the story is behind the ghost? Like, how do you think it got there?
That's a good question. I had a test. I wanted to, like, leave things for it, so I would leave, like, I left, like, chocolate, like, behind. There was this, like, gap between the stove and the stairwell, and I would leave like little trinkets in there, but I would leave them like so far in that I could never get them back if I wanted to, so I couldn't really test the results.
Oh, no.
So I would just leave stuff for it, but I could only assume that it would take them. And overall, it was just the feeling you got from the place, but then that note from the guy was that was the icing on the cake. It was like somebody else has met this ghost. So the ghost likes to take showers, it likes to use the bathroom, and it likes going in the tower.
It could be a guest, like a former guest.
Yeah.
Because I like to say, I say this on the show all the time, behind every ghost is a dead person.
Yeah.
And you have to think about the life beforehand.
That's a good point. I never thought of it like that. I always thought the place was just creepy because there was a ghost in it, but I never thought of the ghost as having a personality.
Yeah.
But we already know some of the stuff it likes.
Showers?
Yeah. It's a cleanly ghost. It likes trinkets, yeah. Likes trinkets.
Trinkets and chocolate.
And honestly, who doesn't like those things?
I like those things.
Yeah,
It could be anybody.
Could be anyone. You know, we have a lot in common with that ghost.
Yeah.
It's a really good story. I think it's like one of the freakiest we've had, and it's a
Really?
Pine Tree State story. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like it because it would happen to me, but I didn't know if it was a good story otherwise.
I like it because it happened to you too.
All right, good.
I think if I go there, I'd like, give me room 7, the Joe room. I want that one.
I don't know if they'll remember me. The owners were really mad and like mean to me because I would eat the candy that was like for the guests. Like they had bowls of candy, but nobody stayed at this place.
Yeah,
So
I
I would
mean-
just eat the candy and leave it for the ghosts behind the.
You probably
thing.
started an entirely different ghost story. Like I'm imagining guests come in and be like, "Yeah, we put out the candy.
Yeah.
Keeps going away. We don't know what's happening to it.
Yeah.
It's just disappearing on us."
And also, children are cleaning our rooms when we're done.
Yeah, a lot
That's
of
creepy.
child-
Also, yeah, a lot of stuff
Just
like
scamper in, start folding sheets. There's a lot of layers to this story. It's kind of
Yeah.
like a big old spooky onion up in Greenville.
It is. Greenville's a weird place.
It is a weird place. It's near the Lawrence Air Force Base.
Yeah, that's true.
You heard much about that?
I have. Is that? No, I haven't actually.
Surrounded. It is surrounded in UFO phenomena.
The Lawrence Air Force Base?
The Lawrence Air Force Base. It's abandoned now, but people believe in its heyday. In its hair day and heyday. Because when you think about it, you could use the term hair day, you know, because as we get older, we lose our hair. So when there was a much younger establishment in the derelict abandoned facility,
Right.
it is now, there are UFOs just zipping in and zipping out, buzzing all around. A lot of reports. We haven't dug too much into it on this show, but it seems like the more far north you go, the more UFO activity.
I had a
there is.
UFO experience that was south.
South?
Yeah, well, it wasn't
My
too
goodness.
far south. It was near Bangor.
Okay.
But not that close to Bangor. Not close enough that you would just think it was an airplane.
Do you want to drop that one on us, or is that a story for a different time?
That's up to you, my friend.
Well, let me ask the guys. Do you want to stop at midnight, or do we want to keep going with stories? Okay.
I have to go.
Go into
Midnight, but I have to wake up at 6.
Okay. Okay.
Are you going straight to 1? Or can we go to 12:30? Are we committed?
I think we go to
1?
12:30.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. Drop it on us, Joe.
Drop the story?
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
okay. Is Lucas out there or did he leave? All right, it's just me.
Here, take this seat.
Sorry, Evan.
Hopefully I didn't leave there my ride.
You could probably like hitchhike or something.
Yeah.
Of course.
So, I was, Lucerne?
Lucerne Inn.
Yes.
That's a haunted inn.
Is it really?
Yeah, well, the ghost hunters went there. I don't know if they found anything.
I didn't know that.
A lot of run around in the dark, it seems.
Yeah.
I watched the episode. When I went there, I didn't really pick
I've
up on
eaten
any
dinner
vibes.
there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I've had a crab soup. Yeah, it's pretty good.
I think I had clam when I was there.
Interesting.
Anyway, Lucerne. Lucerne. Hold on, I think I might have somebody to. Yeah, there is somebody here who can.
Alrighty.
The story.
So, we're on a paddle boat in Lucerne.
This is Lucas Chevrolet talking.
Hi.
Thanks for coming on, Lucas Shepard.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so where were we? Paddle boat in Lucerne.
We're on a paddle boat in Lucerne. What time is it?
It's probably like 6 p.m.
I think it was dark.
It was
So
dark,
might have
yeah.
been- might have been
But
dark.
it was in the fall.
In the fall,
So daylight
okay.
savings was, around that time.
Important
Anyway,
data.
so we're on the paddle boat, just paddling around Lucerne, Phillips Lake.
It was dark, and we were both we didn't know quite where our camp was. It was
we
Lucas's
were
camp.
lost basically.
We were
on the
basically
lake.
lost.
So you were trying to like orient yourself
Yeah, we were
in the
trying.
middle of this
We were trying
body
to
of
go to
water
the-
at night. That's
yeah.
pretty good. Did you have flashlights at least?
We didn't have anything. We had a large stick. We had a broken gallon of water because we had tried to toss it in the boat earlier in
Yeah.
the day.
Was the
sort
stick,
of a special stick.
was it
Yeah.
separate to the paddle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
There was
okay.
no paddle. It was one of those ones where you row it with your feet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very
paddle boat.
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. Manpower.
So we're out there in the middle of the night on this paddle boat. We're trying to find our
camp.
cabin, and we're getting a little panicky. And just then, over the water, I see these 3 lights. They're sort of arranged in a line, like a sideways stoplight.
Whoa. Okay.
So they're not in a triangle or anything like that. They're in a straight line. And I say to Lucas, I say, "Do you see that?"
Yeah. Wait,
And
do you
he
want to
says-
recreate it a little bit
Yeah.
for us? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Dude, what is that?
I don't know.
But you were more scared.
Yeah,
You were more scared.
It was like, the way I saw it, I saw 3. I do remember it as being a triangle, as 3 white lights, and strangely close to the river, like
Oh, I
the
should have
lake.
mentioned that. I should have mentioned.
It was like
Oh, they were flying low.
it was
Yeah,
very
yeah,
low.
that's
They
a
were very
good
close
low.
to us.
Yeah,
Wow.
very low.
Like I've never seen an aircraft fly this close to where we were
Especially with the
in
lights
my life,
on. Yeah.
especially with 3 lights.
And the thing that got me about it right away is like, if I see some lights in the sky, I'm immediately thinking, all right, if there's blinking lights, that's got to be an airplane, right? But there were no blinking lights. There's just 3 solid white lights.
very like
white lights.
the
Okay.
brightest lights I've ever seen.
Yeah, that is actually a common trope in most like UFO cases I've read. It's not the red lights.
Right.
It's the white lights.
White lights. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay. So I say, and he kind of shrugs it off the first time.
I was
I'm like,
was
"What is
scared.
that?" Yeah.
I was actually scared. I didn't
think-
want to acknowledge
Right.
it.
You were like focusing. I think your mind was too much into finding the camp.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't want to deal
But
with
I
this.
totally saw it.
I was like, what is that? And he was like, I don't know, man. Kind of kept.
I was
battling.
kind of in denial. I was scared. I didn't want to confront
Yeah,
the-
well, I mean, you're out on the middle of this body of water at night. You know, you don't know what you just saw. Vulnerable.
Right.
incredibly vulnerable.
Right. So I was persistent. I said, no, man. Like, what the hell is that? What the
He's
heck is
poking
that?
at me. I'm
I
trying
think
to
you can do that one. Yeah,
What
that's
the hell
fine.
is that?
Yeah.
So we stopped paddling altogether, and we're just sitting on the lake, and we're just watching these 3 lights. And they're hovering very low to the water, so I can see the reflection off the water very clearly from the lights. And they're in one position. And then as we're sitting there, they come closer, and that's when I remember them forming a triangle.
Yep.
You said
Okay, okay, now it's coming back to me.
Okay. I do have a question though. Did it look like 3 separate things or 3 lights on the same ship?
It
That's
looked
a
like
good point. I think it was the
I was
same.
the same ship.
Same ship.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was the same ship. And there was also a sound.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And
But a
that's-
weird, very strange.
It was
sound.
like, okay, so I kept going back and forth between like, all right, this is definitely some weird experience, or okay, this is just an airplane. And I went through all the ways in my head that it could be just an airplane. I was like, all right, there's no blinking lights, and then there wasn't any noise until it was off in the distance as 3 lights in a line, and then it was over us as 3 lights in a triangle. And as it was over us for a few seconds, and we got a good look at just the 3 lights,
it just
then
disappeared.
it disappeared into the distance.
Whoa. So was it
And
like a quick disappearance?
It was a, and so there was. It's hard to because the radio listeners can't see, but we were
we have
on
a
the
camera.
Okay, well that's
in here.
go online.
I
We're on the bank of the lake, you know, like near the shore. So the trees were reaching up, sort of to our right.
Just like,
and as it came over us, it disappeared over the trees, but I could see the lights like past the trees, and that's when it made a sound. There was no
Right. So
sound
when it
up
zipped
until
off and-
up until it just
Right.
up until it decided to leave.
Weird.
That's when it was a large like.
And after
Like a
it,
Like kind of
sound.
like a vacuum, like a, you know, sonic boom when like a plane takes off in the air, kind of.
It wasn't like as shocking as that though. It was like
Very subtle.
it was like somebody just turned an airplane sound on.
So it's
there's
like
no sound, and then it was just like like airplane sound. Yeah.
Anyway, so after it disappears, Joe looks at his hands.
Oh yeah. I wasn't gonna tell this part.
Okay.
But
So
Yeah,
Joe's looking at his hands and he's
Yeah,
just
I
like,
felt wet
he's
all
like,
of a sudden.
dude, I feel like my hands, they don't feel normal.
yeah, and I was looking at my hand, and I thought I saw like.
That's
was
the
like,
part that I shrugged off.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
I was blinking a lot, and you know when you like have like double vision, if you're like blinking, like something in your eye or something like that, you'll like see 2 of something. I saw 2 of my hand going. Or I saw 2 hands and then
Morphing.
1 hand going into my regular hand, and I felt wet immediately. And I touched my skin. I slapped my face, and I was like, And then I just felt cold instead of wet. And
weird. I wonder.
I voiced this to Lucas, and I said, "I'm wet."
I mean,
and I just kind of shrugged it off because I was a little confused. But
I think that is a very important aspect of the case, and I am glad that Lucas did bring that up.
It was. I don't like bringing up just like purely subjective things to me, because nobody can prove if I felt wet that moment, but me. But the important thing is that we both saw the lights, so that's why I focus on the lights.
Yeah, I mean, like every little thing that you can, when an event like that happens, it's important to soak it all in. Like in your case, it was very literal.
Right.
But yeah, thank you so much for bringing that story to us. That's very unusual.
But like the next day too.
Next day.
It was just a quick thing. It was like if something horrible happens, like if there's like a car accident or like I don't know, like somebody dies or something like that, you wake up the next day and you're like, it didn't feel real, or you're wondering if it really happened.
Yeah.
I was with him the next day too because we had a sleepover that night.
We did.
You gotta stick together. After something.
After an experience like that, the sleepover was necessary.
The thing is, that night we didn't talk about it at all. It was only the next day where we were like, did that really happen?
Whoa.
So it's just like that. Like when weird things happen like that, you don't think to like talk about them until later.
Yeah.
And then you start questioning your own memories.
You had
it's
the
weird.
two accounts that were the same.
Right.
That's important.
Mine was the two accounts. Yeah.
Two accounts and the wetness. I think that's the takeaway.
I can't speak for the wetness. I didn't speak.
That's why I don't say it.
But just the fact that he stated that he felt wet was important to mention.
Real quick, it is midnight 05. I'm Roy Michaels, and you're listening to the Mystery Hour on WMEB 91.9 FM, Orono, Maine, and we are going into the second portion of the show. But thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks a lot.
John
Appreciate
Lucas.
it.
Thank you.
We're gonna do a quick pivot into our next bit. We'll be right back. All right. That was something. Welcome back to the Mystery Hour. I'm Roy Michaels. It's 12:06, and you are listening to WMEB 91.9 FM, Orono, Maine. Tonight we are sharing many terrifying stories, just the scariest stuff we have, whether it's tales of the macabre, strange encounters, UFOs, ghosts, squads. We got them all, and I think we are going until we are running out of gas. Have run out of gas. I'm pretty tired. You'll have to forgive me. But it is midnight 07. We usually stop at midnight. It's really quite a thing. We decided to keep going because we had an unprecedented story that just came in. I'm a little bit got goosebumps. It kind of freaked me out.
Yeah, it was one heck of a story.
Yeah,
someone in the studio cried.
Someone in the studio did cry. Not tears of laughter, actually. Tears of
sadness.
Tears of fears. Tears for fears.
Yeah. Exactly.
Actually, I do have a pretty good UFO story that I wish I could have, mentioned it to our guests, but it's just come into my mind now. This one time we were driving out on the Greenfield Road, Stud Mill. For those of you that don't know, there's a sort of elaborate nexus of logging roads that run from like Milford all the way to Canada. It's very dense. Connor has a camp out that way. And some very strange territory. There are doomsday preppers out there. With farms and canned goods. It's horrifying. No, I'm just kidding. I know they have radios. Radios go to entertainment for doomsday.
They're probably listening right now.
They're probably listening.
We don't have a problem with you guys, just so you know.
We don't have a problem. We need to do an apocalypse episode. Please contact us. Facebook.com/Maine Mystery Hour. I was going up that way to Robert's camp. We were going up this incline, and then above the tree line, in the distance, I noticed 2 white lights, very close to the tree line, but not so far above it as if it were in the sky.
One and then another.
Yeah, side by side, it actually looked like headlights, and that's what I thought it was. I thought there was a car parked on the side of the road at the top of the hill. So we kept going along, right? Kept going. And the road's very windy, and there is like a peak, like I said. And I thought at this point in the road, there would be a car parked, and that would be the lights that we've been seeing for this entire time. So we're going around, and eventually we drive past the lights. That wasn't on the incline at all. We rounded a corner, and the lights are like just above the trees. Probably I'd say like 100 feet in from the road, hovering, and I really did not know what it was. Nobody in the car talked about it until later that night. And there were 3 vehicles. We were in a convoy, and each person mentioned that they saw the lights. I don't know what it was. It seems like it could have been like a deer stand.
Oh, it was that time?
Yeah.
When we were all out there.
Yeah, the lights.
Was that the same time where the Guardian of the Road was out there?
No, but could we get to that story?
We can
It's
get
a
to that
very
after.
good one.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty much done with this one.
Okay.
Guardian of the Road?
Well, I just want to jump back to the story that they just told before the break. And I really like the strategy of him pushing the chocolate and the candy back behind so they'd take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really smart.
As we know from Mary's story earlier, paranormal entities, they hide in crevices.
Exactly.
And they like to claw at stuff with their Grinch fingers.
Yeah, yeah. So I think he knew what he was doing.
I used to hide Hot Wheels underneath my fridge.
Did you?
Yeah, no, I did.
Was there a paranormal experience to gain from this?
We are going to get to that.
Yeah? Is this
But
a
first,
lead-in?
Roy Michaels is going to need some water. So I'm going to say this is like a, maybe a 10 minutes from now story.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you soft implying that Dan should get you water?
Dan.
You know.
He needs Dan, okay. You need to get me some water, set it outside of the studio, and while Connor's telling the story of the Guardian of the Crossroads.
Guardian of the Crossroads,
The
yeah.
Guardian of the Crossroads. I'm gonna crawl out on all fours and lap the water out of the mug and hydrate myself, and then we are gonna blast into the scariest story that I have.
Okay, sounds pretty good. Yeah, the Guardian of the Crossroads. Okay. So we were driving out. What's that road called, Roy?
The Studmill Road.
The Studmill Road.
We were actually lost. if
We
you
were
remember.
lost out there for quite some time.
And we did think that we saw UFOs that night. That was a whole scary night. We did go to an abandoned graveyard out there. There actually used to be a town. Have you heard about this? There's a town out in that region, and it's like it's been reclaimed by nature at this point because it was abandoned in the late 1800s. Their tannery. There was a spill and it poisoned the water supply, so everybody had to move elsewhere. It's interesting, one of the families was the Willett family, and Joseph Willett, our paranormal journalist that used to be on the show, his family's in Old Town. You think they migrated?
I think they must have. I did not know that. That's actually pretty interesting. Is that near the graveyard that we were going to?
Yeah, and a lot of the gravestones would correspond with that cemetery. I mean, they were from the 19th century, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. So as I recall, we went this way, we went that way, and we could not find our way home. We were out there till what, 4 or 5 in the morning?
Yeah, we were out there till 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah, and we were just, okay, like, let's just drive in a straight line and hope we get, back to Old Town. And we are just going and going. We run into someone in an old 80s sports car, and he's driving down the opposite way with a flat tire. And we kind of flash our lights for him to stop. And he says to us, you guys are going to Canada. Straight to Canada. Exactly the wrong way.
And he was driving this old, it looked like it was a Trans Am.
Yeah, it was old.
From the late 70s. And it was beat up. Remember, he had a flat tire? It wasn't flat, it was obliterated.
It was obliterated.
And this guy is out there. Let me describe him to you. He looked like Burt Reynolds. He had kind of a mullet going on. He had a very thick mustache.
He did.
He was just cruising around at 4 in the morning in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, he was straight from the 80s. He was clearly a man from the 80s, literally.
We were, I think, 45 minutes from town in every direction. That includes, Greenbush, Milford, and Old Town. I don't know, how far we were from Canada. Probably quite a while.
Most likely, yeah.
I have a theory about this guy.
Let's hear it.
Well, his car was beat up, right?
Yeah.
And he looked like a bygone man from a bygone time.
He did.
Looked like one of the photos of my uncles in their youth. I think this guy was out on the crossroads a long time ago on a joyride. I think he lost his life out there.
I think so, too. Maybe he was mudding.
I think he was mudding. The entire vehicle was caked with mud.
Yeah, he sunk down deeper into the mud than anyone ever before, and he didn't come back out until he was dead.
So, yeah, well, we can't skirt around yeah, we have to tell him what really happened. He did die.
Yeah,
probably.
He died. Yeah.
And I think that the fact that his car was so damaged, that was what the car looked like in that moment he crashed.
I think so, because by all rights, that car should not have been working, right?
Yeah.
From how broken it was.
He was trudging along, and he did. Yeah. You offered him a ride, which I was very alarmed when you did that.
Yeah, I did that on impulse, and I regretted it because he was.
I mean, he was having a hard time.
Yeah.
Though obviously, I mean, if he was one of us, we would like to,
Yeah.
Someone offered us a ride out there.
Nowadays, I probably wouldn't do that because here in the Mystery Hour, we've learned so much about the paranormal. We know how dangerous it is now.
And, I mean, far worse than the paranormal, people are more dangerous.
Wait, what? I
don't know.
Are you saying? I mean, I agree. If what you're saying is that normal people
Ghosts are bad, people are worse.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Aliens are the most worse.
Yeah. I stay away from everyone because they're just dirty. They've got germs all over them. Don't touch me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to. Did you misread this thing we're having here?
Yeah, I saw you. I thought you were
know we've been
reaching
making a
over
lot
to
of eye contact, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I'm in love with
I'm kind
you.
of offended. So that town was Riceville, the town that we mentioned. It's located south of Lincoln. It is now overgrown with very little left of what was once a thriving tannery. Some of the old stoves and a few foundations still can be found. If you look around, you might even happen to find a few of the old buffalo hides. Now, this was a long time ago because there were buffalo.
There are still buffalo.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. You mean like on a spacecraft somewhere? Because of course.
Yeah, on the Ark.
Yeah.
The Ark 2. But yeah, anyway.
Can you talk about the Ark for a little bit?
Talk about the original Ark or the new Ark?
Ark 2, please.
Ark 2 was built by a coalition between every major power in the world, and it's a giant ship full of, I'd say, billions of animals. You've got to include bugs there, right, Keith?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't forget the bugs.
Can't forget bugs, and you can't forget all the rodents and such. Plants, even. And it is massive. It's half the size of the Earth, and they're going to send it over to Andromeda just in case the Earth dies.
I mean, that is a very noble thing to do, though, when you think about it. and just send out life somewhere else and see if it works out.
And perhaps the first ark was similar. Maybe another civilization built it to come here.
Yeah. So we talked about this last episode that Earth might have been seeded.
We did, and I
Yeah.
think that's a big possibility.
I have the feeling though we are gonna ship out the Ark, right? Like years from now, centuries. It's gonna be going across the galaxy, the universe even. It's gonna be very triumphant, just trudging along, and it's gonna go straight into a sun.
That's possible. I would hope that they mapped it out so well, but you never know.
All of that time. I mean, an asteroid could take it out.
It's pretty unlikely, though. There's a lot of nothingness in space. The chance of actually hitting anything is pretty small.
Really?
Yeah.
So how come when I look up at the sky, it is studded with stars?
I don't know.
Are you laughing at me? No, I'm serious. I'm asking you a question.
I mean, there are lots of stars, but there's more not stars.
Well,
If you know
that's
what I mean.
just a pessimistic way to look at space. Sorry you feel
I mean,
that
you're the
way.
one. You're telling me I'm being pessimistic, and you're the one saying that the Ark is going to fly right into a sun.
Yeah, and it's gonna be like beautiful,
This is not scary.
This isn't scary. But thankfully, it is time for another break. It is 12:20. I'm Roy Michaels, and you are listening to the Mystery Hour on WMEB 91.9 FM, Orono, Maine.
Tonight, we have an appetizer of pan-fried alternative rock, followed by 3 main courses: braised math rock with jazz fusion, sautéed funk electronica, stir-fried Asian house music, and for dessert, vaporwave compote.
We'll see you around the table for candlelit dinners with Nick and Zach.
Tuesday nights from 6 to 8 p.m. on WMEB 91.9 FM, Orono, Maine.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We need some help from you now. Come on, Scooby-Doo, I see you, pretending you got a sliver. You're not fooling me, 'cause I can see the way you shake and shiver. You know we got a mystery to solve, so Scooby-Doo, be ready for your act. Don't hold back, and Scooby-Doo, if you come through, you're gonna have yourself a Scooby snack. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, here are you, you're ready and you're willing. If we can count on you, Scooby-Doo, I know we'll catch that feeling.
Hello. I'm Roy Michaels. This is 12:21. You are listening to the Mystery Hour on WMEB 91.9 FM, Orono, Maine. I ran out of songs to play. That was the only one left on my CD. But it's perfect, because tonight is an evening of horror. And to continue with that theme, we have another call-in from... Caller, you are on the air. Who are you?
Hello?
Yes, who are you?
Hi there, this is Gail Grady, longtime listener of the show.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear it, Gail. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you very much. I've been taking a lot of notes about your show. It's helped me out a lot, yeah.
That means so much to me. Where are you calling in from tonight, Gail?
I don't usually disclose my position on the radio.
I understand,
Good
but
idea.
you can trust us, Gail.
This is a test.
We're your friends, Gail. You can tell us, Gail.
Oh, all right. Calling in from Kelly Road, far down Kelly Road.
Far down, okay. So, you have a story for us, I understand.
Yeah, it's less of a story, more of a thought, a realization.
What's it about?
Well, have you ever thought about the fourth wall?
I have thought about the fourth wall.
Yeah, it's that intangible barrier separating fiction from reality. Think of it as the space between a stage or rows of seats.
That's a good point.
It is yeah. Well, I was thinking it's the imaginary wall keeping the characters of a play or a film or television series or even literature from mingling with the audience or reader. The fourth wall doesn't really exist, though. It's just a concept.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sorry.
okay,
I got
so
deep in thought. You just laid a lot on me, and I'm very excited to see where it goes.
Well, okay. I think you. Yeah. So you get the picture. So here's my question. What if the fourth wall is real?
Really?
You know, the question itself being rhetorical, but it holds some merit. I've pondered said possibility every night for several years now. Laying in my bed and staring up at the ceiling, I've thought long and hard about the ramifications. My blood runs cold and my body shudders. What if you and me and everyone and everything else in existence is just fiction? Empty forms moving across screens we cannot detect. What if our reality is simply the realm of fantasy constantly being molded and watched by entities? What if these entities are responsible for all these deaths and tragedies and bloodshed and darkness that we've experienced? And what if, like us, they revel in fictional suffering?
So they're like the puppet masters, and we are their play.
Those are my thoughts, yeah.
Who do you think's responsible? Do you think it's extraterrestrial beings, or maybe a concept that's maybe very different, like watchers from a different dimension?
Oh, I think it'd be watchers from a different dimension. I'd go with that.
I'd have to agree with you there. So, often in literature, movies, film, comic books, that's how I said literature and comic books. Characters, a common device is piercing the fourth wall. Do you think we could do that? Do you think we could pierce the veil of our reality?
Yeah. Well, here let's just imagine a fictional world where people know that they're fictional and can interact with the audience on occasion. Wouldn't that be terrifying? Knowing for a fact that you're completely at the mercy of some author somewhere. When really bad things happen, people would be begging the audience members to talk, to the author to change his mind.
Yeah, we try to sway the outcome. I would certainly hope that my story arc has a happy ending.
Yeah, could possibly be at the whim of someone else. We don't really know. There's probably a test or two we could run to find out.
Maybe we could reveal a glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to do that. Perhaps by trying to predict events with a control, and then predict events without a control, and see how that comes out. I'm not sure.
Well, Grady Gale, Gale Grady, is that the correct name?
Gale Grady, yes.
You did tell me your address, and you normally don't disclose that. And I would say that the Watchers are coming for you now, so you are in fact our control. Do you understand me?
Don't joke about that.
The machine has been put in motion.
Well, all right. Well, okay. Well, I'm packing my bags.
You strike me as the person that already has bags packed. I know I have bags packed. Do you have a bug-out bag?
I do. I have several Apocalypse Outcomes bags packed. Yes.
Several Apocalypse Outcomes. Do you have the?
Well, there could be several options.
Of course. Do you think? Let me throw this at you. I know you've been wrestling with this concept for quite some time, Mr. Gale Grady. Have you ever thought, what if the watchers decide to turn off the TV?
Well, so entertaining the possibility that that's possible, I guess. Maybe we would cease to exist, or maybe we would be free.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, can you hear me, Gail, from over here?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You
Yeah.
can hear me.
Connor?
Is
this Connor?
It is. I don't know.
Connor
I don't know
Spencer.
how you know me. You must be an avid listener of the show.
Well, no, I'm a long time listener. I think you should be the host. Just saying, I've been following since episode 1.
Well, I don't know about that, but you know, I appreciate it.
You're flattering.
Yeah. Well, I just want to tell you that I think you're onto something, and this reminds me a lot of my favorite part of the Republic and the only part I know, called the Allegory of the Cave, and the gist of it is that there are people tied up in a cave, and their experience of reality are their shadows being cast by the fire behind them, and that sounds a lot like maybe what you're saying we're living in. Is that correct? Or
yeah, I think it's yes. I think in order to be prepared for all eventualities, one must learn to entertain every eventuality.
Exactly. That's what I've been trying to tell everyone. You know, Roy doesn't listen to me. He's just gonna bug out.
I'm right here. I can hear you.
Oh, I know you can hear me. It's time to stand up, Mystery Hour. No? Okay.
Yeah.
Just me? Okay.
Come down Kelly Road, and we can stand up together.
I'm going to head out to Kelly Road right after this, and I'm going to stand up with you. For as long as it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a resistance, yeah.
Just two lads fighting against the world. I can't wait.
Well, just searching for answers. You know, well, thank you. It's great to have an outlet, you know, to field these questions.
Yeah, listen.
Thank you.
Give us a call anytime. We really appreciate it. I think you opened up a lot of minds to maybe the true nature of our reality. Like, not a nature randomly given to us by nature, but one manufactured by them. I think it's important that we entertain that reality.
Definitely.
Oh, what? Hello?
Hello?
Who's that?
Gail?
No. Oh, you can't come in.
Gail, grab the bag.
Gail,
Get out.
don't open the door. Lock the door.
Gail, you gotta get out of there.
Gail, you gotta get out of there.
Gail, run.
We lost Gail.
Is Gail gone?
Gail's gone.
Gail's gone.
What just happened?
What happened to Gail?
Another Mystery Hour
think,
listener gone.
It seems like everybody that gives us our address disappears.
I think so. Yeah.
Gives us their address.
Call in, give us your address.
Can someone else be the host for this episode?
I don't know. I've tried being the host, and I don't want to again.
It is 12:31, which means we are halfway through the second half of the mystery double hour, going into the last mystery half hour. Of course, I'm Roy Michaels, joined by Connor. Apparently, you should be hosting the show. Whatever, I'm not.
Thank you, Gail.
What?
Was Gail a man or a woman?
I don't think.
She had the feminine, beautiful voice of a singer, but I don't know. I think I heard Mister.
Yeah, I think that's up to Gail to tell us.
Yeah, that's true.
But it is this is WMEB 91.9 FM, or no Maine. I think I'm gonna kick off the second the fourth half hour with a scary story, if you'll indulge me. So
you're really mixing it up.
Before we begin this story, I think it's important that I give you a little background information. Our biggest fan, Roy Roberta's, my mother. Now, my mom has a bit of a complex and deep relationship with the paranormal. She's an ooky spooky person. For example, she has extraordinary extrasensory perception. That is the sixth sense, or so she claims, and also a tremendous tongue twister. While I would agree that I would argue that she has a very keen intuition. But her predictions have come to fruition on numerous occasions, and she has proven herself as a sort of Bangor Nostradamus. However, in the realm of paranormal phenomena, her psychic ability is outshadowed by her life full of encounters with spirits. My mom insists that she has shared her home with many ghosts throughout her lifetime. Inexplicably moving furniture and bizarre anomalies regarding electrical appliances have been reoccurrent themes at nearly every space she has called home. Let me tell you my favorite event. Once the current priest at the local Catholic church was making the rounds, visiting the homes of each and every member of his flock. Naturally, he stopped by to visit my mom. She answered the door, and after a brief exchange of pleasantries, invited him in for coffee. He began to enter the house, but suddenly froze, as if he was suddenly encompassed by a sickness. He told her that he couldn't come in, that he was never coming in, and that he should leave immediately. He rushed away and promptly drove off. Now, shortly after this quirky encounter with the priest, my mom had my uncle over. While they were both hanging out in the living room, they heard a loud bang. My uncle went upstairs to investigate and found that the bathroom mirror had been shattered to pieces. But they were alone. Now, it is possible that the priest left my mom's house because the act of visiting a young single woman alone may have made him and his values susceptible to the clutch of Satan. But coupled with the subsequent mirror event, it is possible that my mom shared her home with a dark entity. So now that you know my mom's haunted history, it's time I tell you mine. This isn't a haunted house story. It's a haunted apartment story. It begins with what I believe to be my earliest memory. Well, actually, it's my second earliest memory. My oldest memory is the time I was practically waterboarded by the Catholic Church as an infant during my baptism. Thus began my lifelong fear of water and mistrust of organized religion. Anyway, my baptism and the story I'm about to tell you share a common thread. There are two things that almost always cement memories into the gray matter of our brains: pain, and in the case of this memory, fear. I was very young enough to be chaperoned by my mom while taking a bath. I think I was like 14 or something. Just playing. I was an infant. We have fun here. Anyway, let me describe my bathtub to you. So, it's a shower curtain bathtub combo. It's an apartment, right? And when you have a shower, you need a shower curtain. And that is pulled open so, my watchful mother could make sure that I didn't go under, which I wouldn't be doing because I'm deathly afraid of water. The curtain would cast a shadow on the far end of the tub. It was a dark region, and I remember, throughout my days of baths, I would never go to that corner of the tub. Well, one day I did. I moseyed on over, and I was sitting there. I think I was playing with some Batman action figure or something. It's probably disgusting and waterlogged with bath water. But I'm sitting there, and in between the shower curtain that cast the shadow over the portion of the tub where I was, and the wall, there was a crack. And in that crack, I'll never forget this, I saw a dark hand, spirally and hairy, stretching its hand out and closing it into a fist. And I didn't know what I saw. I was still an infant. I hadn't shaped my view of the world yet, but I knew what I saw was otherworldly. There wasn't anything in my genetic programming to inform me of what it was. It was other, and my response to it was pure fear. My eyes widened. I stiffened up. Even though I was in a hot tub, I was deathly cold. I had goosebumps. I remember my stomach felt like it was cement, it was concrete, just sitting there in the tub. I didn't scream, I didn't cry, I just locked up, finished my bath. Now this is an early memory, and with many early memories I have, I'm not sure if they were dreams or actual life experiences. And I always filed this away to the dream. I always thought this didn't actually happen. Just random dream memory from when I was a kid. So I was sitting with my mom one day, and this brings it back to my mom and her history with ghosts. And she was telling me, you know, like every place I've lived in is haunted. And I was like, yeah, well, you know, what about our place on French Island? And she told me it was, and I was laughing. I had a smile on my face. I was like, no way, like, I've never seen a ghost at that apartment. I've never seen ghosts. I don't believe. I'm a non-believer. And then that smile on my face was quickly shattered because she looked at me. She's like, well, Mike, she was very serious. What about that time you were in the tub? And I realized that actually happened.
That's the kicker.
That's the kicker.
Yeah.
And there's more.
Really?
Yeah, so I was always afraid of that apartment, and when I moved, I became more at ease. I don't know if it's because my earliest childhood associations of fear are tied to that apartment, like fear of the darkness. I don't like going into my kitchen. It was very dark. Maybe I have like some terrible memory that will be brought out with retrograde therapy later on. Or it's just the weird architecture of the kitchen that makes it like a very unwelcome and dark place, right? But there's more to that kitchen. I felt this way my entire life. And one time, my neighbor came over, and he gave us a picture of the clouds, right? And now this is before Facebook, so memes were shared in person. You'd get a meme, you'd photocopy it, you'd bring it to your neighbors. And this photo was given to him by his friend, right? And the story goes like this. His friend was on the plane, and there was some terrible like electronic malfunction, and they were told they were going to crash. And as they're descending, the guy, you know, he just has his camera on him. He looks out the window and snaps a photo. Well, later on, that plane landed, right? It was totally fine. They got out of there with their faculties intact. They got out of there with their lives. The guy develops the film, because this is the age of Kodak cameras. And in it, in the clouds, he sees a photo of what appears to be Jesus Christ. It looks like that famous statue. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So he photocopied this because it was quite a thing to be given by his friend. And he gave it to my mom, and it sat on my fridge. It had a place of honor for quite some time, right? One morning, we go into the kitchen, start of the day, following the night. This picture had been destroyed. We don't know what did it. We just found it defaced and lying on the floor like it was nothing. And that really stuck with me, coupled with that and the destruction of religious artifacts in the dark hand makes me believe that something more sinister was at work. And I'm not talking like maybe a demon, but just coalesced evil.
I always got a pretty dark vibe from that kitchen. It's worth noting for the viewers, the listeners even, there was like a wall of protection even that figured there was like Jesus figurines, and there were lighthouses, and there were like Bible portraiture.
Yeah.
Like, it was a very holy wall, and then it still contrasted so poorly because that place was scary. It was dark and it was unwelcoming. I don't know what it was.
I could count the number of dinners I've had at my kitchen table on my hand. I always ate in the living room. That's probably because I was a spoiled brat, too, and I watched TV all the time.
You were spoiled.
I was a spoiled brat.
Yeah, and I think all of us here have known you for a long time, and most of us have spent a lot of time in your old kitchen. I think we can all agree it was pretty scary.
It was a pretty scary kitchen.
Yeah, a feeling of uneasiness every time you went in there.
And there's more to the story. It is 12:43, excuse me, and we have to go to a break. But I want to come back and jump into this. If you'll let me. We just have to get our break set up. Connor, I think you had a question to ask me.
I didn't have a question, but I just wanted to say that I love that story. That's one of the best stories that I think anyone's ever told me. It just connects so well.
Every time I tell it, like I feel like my veins are restricted. Like it's so scary.
It is. It's really good.
Yeah, I'll just never forget that hand. It was black and hairy, and
I don't know how to say things without sounding sarcastic, but I want you to know that I do love it. It's a great story. Keith, I mean, do you think the black hand could have been similar to the Grinch-like hand from Mary's story?
You think it's the same thing? Maybe it's, I don't know, it's probably what, like 20, 30 miles? It can't be too far.
It'd be like a really long, like a hand on a really long arm.
Yeah, maybe. It's actually reached through time and space.
Yeah, it kind of stretches.
That's why I got goosebumps during Mary's story. It really freaked me out. That same connection, that same Slytherin hand, it's there in a moment and then just gone silently.
So there's just a hand out there.
Creeps back into where it came from. There's a hand
It's
that
just
large.
sliding and reaching through time and space, freaking people out in their tubs. Now, I take a lot of baths, and I'm afraid now. So I don't know.
I don't think I've took a bath since, at least in recent memory. But anyway, there's a hand at large. We have to catch it, and we have to make America safe from hands again. I'm Roy Michaels. It's 12:45. You are listening to the Mystery Hour on WMEB 91.9 FM, Orono, Maine.
So, who's going to do what? Flashlights?
Nowhere to be found.
Emergency supply kits?
Not packed.
Great. Sounds like we don't have a plan.
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Visit ready.gov/kids and make a plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
You thought we'd be gone for long, but we wouldn't leave you. No, we wouldn't dare leave you for long.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I think this does connect to the story. How many of us here can't swim? Raise your hand. Yeah, that's 4 out of 5. That's gonna be meaningful, right?
Did you hear that electrical
I
interference?
did, yeah. But that's gonna mean something, right? 4 out of 5. That's statistically unlikely.
I do have a theory, though. We live in Old Town. We all grew up in Old Town. Most of us did, except for Dan.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Oh, you... Okay.
The backwoods of Alton.
My theory is the water. It's heavily contaminated. Before the Clean Water Act, it was just a filth ravine, and we couldn't swim in it, even if we wanted to. And, this has gone into our drinking water, coupled by the fluoride that the government puts in to inhibit our psychic abilities. We have a really bad subconscious fear of water and letting our bodies be taken over by it. I can't go under.
Yeah, I don't like to either.
The problem is I'm very skinny, too, and I don't have buoyancy.
I think, that is a big problem. And I don't think me living in Alton, I don't think that disproves your theory, because the water, maybe, hypothetically, it does, comes from the swamps of Alton, the Old Town water. They pump it right out of there.
Pump it out of the swamps?
Yeah.
Well, Alton is known as the town they dug up because they created these giant quarries to build I-95.
Exactly.
There is a urban legend. Now, this is very scary. There's a tractor out there and a bog that they were filling, I believe.
Yes.
Whatever. And the tractor was claimed by the earth. It sank down below. So now, somewhere Alton, there's a piece of machinery lingering just below the surface.
If you go there, you can
waiting.
kind of see its claw grasping, reaching out of the swamp.
Yeah. This is like a little tombstone for the tractor, of course, because when you work construction, you fall in love with your equipment. It's really sad to see something.
Yeah, you become one with it.
It's second nature to you. It's an extension of your own form. But on cold, dark nights, when the moon is bright, so it's actually not that dark at all, but it's very misty. Some people say that you can see a claw reaching out of the ground toward the earth as if it had something to offer.
Ooh, I haven't heard that one, like that part of it.
Haunted tractors.
I like it, yeah.
You heard it here first on the Mystery Hour.
Don't go near it, It'll get you in its scoop and pull you under.
I think we were in the middle of a story, Tale of Terror.
Were we?
Yeah. Where was I?
Weren't you talking about the claw?
My haunted apartment.
Oh, right.
Hey, do you think it has to do something? Like, do you think your you wanting to stay away from your kitchen has something to do with the time that Joseph grabbed your leg and smashed your head into the ground? Like, do you think that you might actually just associate the kitchen with that dark memory?
He's like 20% brain dead.
Yeah, it's actually a little stifling.
Have you seen the shape of my head? I look like a xenomorph.
I saw the shape of your head on the floor. Like, it's still there.
Yeah, back when it was finally pushed in.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's also Old Town Water as well.
Please note that the views and opinions expressed in this show are those of the DJ and do not reflect the opinions of WMEB, its staff, or the University of Maine. Please note that the views and opinions...
They have since cleaned up the water. It's good now.
I have to hit you with the disclaimer twice, so you know.
Yeah, it wasn't a mistake. It was on purpose.
But yeah, that apartment was super haunted, okay? And let me tell you, there were a lot of kids in the apartment complex. They were all conjoined. It was like a giant train. Like a...
This just got terrifying.
Yeah, imagine the children, the apartments were conjoined.
Okay.
There was an old doctor. I don't know where he came from, but he lived in apartment 8 and he sewed us all together. He's the worst babysitter. Anyway. So as kids, we'd like hear fragments of different stories, you know, because all of our parents were very superstitious. They just happened to luck out that way, and where was that? Yeah, so we'd get these little fragments, these little anecdotes, and we'd piece them together, right? And I'd overhear stories of like when my neighbor would get together with my mom, and she had a 2-year-old, right? Now, they have had 2 events in their apartment that I still remember till this day. One time, her boyfriend claimed that while he was in the shower, he peeked out of his curtain. He just had like a sort of impulse to look out. In the midst of his bathroom, he saw the silhouette of a child. And shortly, he lost power. Lights went out. Lights come back on. No kid. Very fantastical. Could be a good movie. That's why I don't really believe it that well. But also, the kid in their apartment, I distinctly remember my neighbor coming over in a panic, right? Looking for my mom for some advice. She's wide-eyed. She's freaking out. Her son had been speaking in tongues, just jibber-jabbering for like hours, like all night, just waking up in the middle of the night. And that was weird. And I found out this is the kicker. In an apartment over, I don't know if it's true. I tried to look it up in our town records. Couldn't find anything. Didn't look very hard. Good stuff to do.
You didn't look at all.
I'd Googled it.
You binged it.
There was a suicide next door, adjacent to my kitchen.
Really?
Yeah.
I think you might have told us that before. Not on the show, but I that sounds familiar, and it is truly terrifying, actually.
Yeah,
right
it's
next door.
really sad to think about as well.
Yeah.
Don't like thinking about it.
Yeah, it is. It's a good thing you're out of there.
Yeah, and you know what? I haven't really had a spooky experience since I left that place, except for the shadow person I saw.
And that's just more evidence that your other place was truly possessed, I think.
Yeah, I have another anecdote for you. It's more of a fun story, if you will.
Yeah.
I passed out on my couch once, back in high school, watching The Twilight Zone. And there was the episode with the face shapeshifter, okay? So he could turn to other people, and his features would move around on his face like some horrible, like, claymation, right?
Yeah.
And I used to have this, like, recurrent nightmare as a kid where I'd see, like, a paper mache head in my closet and just freak out, just lose my mind. But that's beside the point. And I'm sleeping on the couch, and my mom woke me up, right? But she's getting in my face, like, Michael, you have to wake up. And as I opened my eyes, I think the dream switch was still like halfway on, right? So her features like shifted around this vortex. It's very psychedelic, if you will. It was horrible, and I screamed in her face, and I ran upstairs and shut my door, and she was like knocking to come in, and I was yelling at her to go away. And it took me like 10 minutes to start laughing and realize what happened. I was so afraid. I thought my mom was a shapeshifter.
Yeah, who wouldn't be afraid? I don't blame you. That's terrifying.
And I was getting the skinwalkers at that point.
Yeah.
Reading a lot of scary stories.
I mean, I had a time when in between sleep and being awake, I would hear different people I knew saying, Connor, Connor, Connor. That really freaked me out because I thought I was like schizophrenic or something. But I don't know, it went away. But it was really scary.
It went away?
It just stopped. I don't know.
Might as well stop worrying about it.
But it stopped when I moved from Alton.
Really?
Yeah, and I lived in an old farmhouse that was a couple hundred years old.
Can we talk about the time we snuck into your Alton house?
I think the statute of limitations is
still in effect.
No, I mean, we still technically owned it.
Yeah.
So
but we told ourselves that you didn't to make it more fun.
Right. So, yeah, we snuck in there.
Basically, we just went a really roundabout way to visit your own home. That was the only time I ever visited that house.
And I'm glad you came with me because it was the last time I went inside that house. It was like a spiritual journey for me.
Yeah, it is actually a really hard. The last time you closed the key on that childhood home.
Yeah, I mean, I went out the window, but
you did go. You went out the window, yeah.
I metaphorically
like any
closed the gate.
normal person.
Yeah, I used to go out the window all the time. We didn't have doors.
You didn't have steps out there.
Yeah.
Alton's a quarry town. You step out your door, you fall to your death.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I lost 3 siblings that way.
Yep.
Just boop, we're out the door.
Richard, Sprainard, and Escobar.
Yeah, and Ron. Why do they have different names? Wait. Oh, I thought you said last names. I was like,
No, Richard Spencer, and Escobar Spencer.
Yeah, and George Alton Spencer.
And now they are ghosts out there.
His initials are gas.
Speaking of,
I never run out of gas, boys.
Speaking of dead children, I used to have this friend on French Island, right? His name was Tyler. He was a great guy. And he lived on a property that was had a baby graveyard, okay? Because this used to be a French suburb, so lots of people lived there, lots of French immigrants, people from Canada, just French speakers in the area. It's Francophone Central. And,
be careful there.
They gotta be careful, I guess.
Yeah.
But you gotta be careful if you're Tyler, too. Because his property was on the baby graveyard, right? So this was like the baby depository for the island. And one night, he told me this and it freaked me out. This was back when I could be afraid. I've been terrified all night. I'm nervous.
Really?
Anyway, there was a baby standing on his bed one night, silhouette, dark shadow, looking at him, horrifying. And let me tell you, one time I was with Tyler, and we were on French Island going toward the riverbank to scare our friend Daniel. And down toward the coast, we saw what looked like a little gnome figure kind of like sidestepping and dancing along, like out of the bushes. And we booked it. I had a bike. Tyler had to run. It was horrible, and we were so afraid. And we
Did you leave him behind?
We got back to my house. I made up the hill. He ran up. He was actually with me though, just to illustrate how terrified we were.
So he was running fast.
Very fast. Yeah. And yeah, we sat down. We're like, did we just see a gnome? And I think we did.
I mean, you and I saw an apparition, a face in a window near that area.
That scared me so
me
much.
too. We were just going for a midnight walk.
Who did that?
I don't know. It's boom.
Listen, if you are that entity on French Island, I think it was some college student.
If you scared 2, lads taking a midnight walk, call in sometime
we
and
were
tell
walking
us.
around, and we passed this window, and it was kind of like the face from The Exorcist, the demon face that flashes.
It was.
It was black, and there was just a white facade grinning ear to ear, staring at us.
Just so you know, we're about 6 feet tall. We're both skinny. We're pale. We have black-ish hair.
I'm more of like a dark brown.
Dark brown.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty close. What do we have time for the concrete lad?
We have to end the show, actually.
We do. No, time flies.
Time flies when you are getting scared. Dan, could you please answer the phone? Up next is Robo DJ. You'll be in his cold grip for the rest of the evening. He can be trusted despite what I say on the show. I'd like to thank Jimmy Ozog for composing several original tracks for the Mystery Hour, as well as Sean Kilpatrick. And, of course, I'd like to thank the people behind the scenes at WMEB for making this show possible and helping us grow along the way. And, of course, you, the listener, for tuning in. And I got to do a huge shout-out for everybody that gave me their stories. That was Dan. You got Joe and Lucas. That was a lot of fun having those guys. It sounds insincere. I got to go to bed. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. Hope to do this again.
Good night, everyone.
It's now midnight. I'm Roy Michaels. You just listened to the Mystery Hour on WMEB 91.9 FM, Orono, Maine. It's also great that Robbie called us twice.
Once.
Yeah, Robbie and Gail.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Watch out for those hands, people.
It's now 1 a.m. See you next week.